not staying on the market. Sometimes it doesn't even hit the market. You got a pocket listing, as we refer to it, right? As you
Correct.
refer to it. It might not even hit the market.
Yeah, it's
so what's going on with that?
It's crazy. It's pretty much a carbon copy of last year. So the inventory being down, if you've got something nice to sell, it's flying off the shelf. I had an open house in Livonia a couple weeks ago. I had 65 buyers come through.
Wow.
10 offers, gap guarantees over appraisal. If appraisal shortfall happens. So it's very competitive right now.
So you're a Livonia kid. You grew up in Livonia. You went to Livonia high schools, and you stayed in the area. You saw a lot of houses there. People think that we just talk about, the Woodward Corridor, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, up and down. And we talk about everything. I mean, Macomb County's hot. We know that. You're from Livonia. And talk about your market.
I sell everywhere. I travel. I go where the business is at. If it's a referral, I go with them. But you're right. The west side right now, Livonia is red hot. Red hot. If it's between 5 and 8 Mile and west of Farmington, it's got multiple offers. It's a very, very hot market right now. Good school systems, very popular.
Always have been. Livonia Franklin, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 88.
There you go.
Hey, guys, let me jump in here with a little bit of business here. 248-539-9797. If you're out there thinking about a house, looking about refinancing, definitely give us a call here. Capital Mortgage Funding's open all weekend long. I know Ronnie J's in the office. He already texted me this morning saying, give us a call, 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. Deal with real mortgage professionals. Mike, we talked a little bit about what you're starting to get into, that so many offers on that house. It's not always the highest offer, and it keeps coming up that if we don't have professional people submitting the offer, they're not going to get their offer accepted.
Yeah, really good point. It's I always preach components of the offer, and what that talks to is it's not always the highest price. It's also how easy are you going to be to work with. Do you have a reputable agent? Do you have a reputable lender, loan officer, a good name in the business? The other agent knows this. The first thing I do when I receive an offer on one of my listings is I look up the other agent's production. I want to know who I'm dealing with. Because
you want to make sure they're experienced.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure they've been around the block a few times.
Like we talked about a few minutes ago, communication. It's all about communication. We can't have anything dropped because there is no. The last thing you want to do for your client is go back on the market.
So, Mike, you talk about the offer in its entirety. Okay.
Correct.
Can we stop with the we have to close in 15, 20 days thing? Because I'm going to ask you this question. Where are people going to go in 15 to 20 days? People want to stay in their house longer because they can't find a house to move to. So what's all this? Let's close in 15, 20 days. For what? So we can hurry up and wait? Now, don't get me wrong. I want to close as fast as we can, right? We all do. Mm-hmm. Right? We all want to close as fast as we can. We can close in whatever time frame you want. But truthfully, when you're writing an offer, now it's about, hey, can we stay and occupy the house for 45, 60 days? And by the way, we want to occupy it for nothing. We want to occupy it for free.
That's exactly right.
When somebody writes an offer, they're saying, okay, we'll accept the offer if they allow us to stay in the house on the best terms available, correct?
Right, you hit the nail on the head. Actually, you have to educate your client on why you're putting together such an offer. What is free occupancy? They don't know this. You have to educate them on why you're offering this. Again, components of the offer.
Now, by the way, I'm not doing your job. I'm not advocating for occupancy. I'm just throwing it out there.
But you know what? We're all a team. So we work together. We're components of the deal. So when you put a deal together, you have to look at the seller and talk to the agent. What's their motivation? This is a domino game right now. Are they moving? Are they building? What are they doing? And if you get that information and put together a smart offer, you don't have to be the highest.
I like that. All the components of an offer, not just the components of when we say a mortgage, down payment, closing costs.
Your deposit,
of your
closing
offer.
time, free occupancy, a gap guarantee if an appraisal is light.
Type of mortgage you might be obtaining.
There you go.
Right, so we're getting into it, Harvin. We always say this, and I always ask realtors when they come on, what are the appraised values going for in your neighborhood? What are the property values going? Are appraisers bringing it in? Are they bringing it in short? Because, they're still pulling sales from the winter time, but now we're getting into the spring, comps coming out. What's going on in your market area? Where are you seeing appraisals?
That's one of the first things I wanted to talk about today, because the last 2 or 3 deals I've put together on the buy side, we were up against 15, 20 offers. and we won both. And here's the deal. We waived the appraisal. And the only reason I recommended my buyers waive the appraisal was because the house was turnkey and needed nothing. We looked at the 5-year window of the first 5 years of ownership of that house. It didn't need anything.
Explain to everybody out there, what do you mean you waived the appraisal? What does that mean, waive the appraisal?
List price of $330,000. We went in against 15, 20 offers in Livonia. We won. We offered $345,000, and we waived the appraisal, meaning whatever the appraisal came in at, we're bringing the extra in cash as the buy side.
Your buyer didn't care.
Didn't care. 20%
they just
down.
wanted that house, and that was it.
It was location, 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 and
they didn't need to put $25,000 into the kitchen, so they had the extra $25,000 to make the offer and get it.
Yeah. So Mike and Harvey, for everybody out there, we as a lender, we don't mind that. Nope. But everybody has to understand, like you just said, and you educated the buyer on it. You said, hey, listen. You probably said the house isn't going to appraise for $340,000, $345,000. It's probably going to come in right at $320,000, $325,000. So are you willing to bring that extra $20,000, $25,000 in? And they said yes, no problem. So then when you enter into the purchase agreement, you give it to the lender for the mortgage, and we bring the appraiser, not we, the appraiser brings it in at $320,000, $325,000. Everybody knows up front.
No problem.
Right? No problem.
Well, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Both of these deals that I'm talking about, the first one, the appraisal was waived by the bank, meaning
they didn't even need one.
They didn't need one. The comps were good. They didn't bring a dime extra.
Yeah, we get those quite a bit, and they were already putting a decent amount of money. And the second one, we did our homework with. We pulled all the comps. We went well over asking price, and I gave them my 2 cents, and that appraisal came in at our offer price, even though we were well above. You met the appraiser at the house. You supplied the comparable sales.
Well, that's the key. I mean, that's what you did. You said the key word. You did your homework.
Correct.
And then you provided all the information. You have to do that now, as we talk about a lot on this show. Sometimes appraisers welcome that, and sometimes appraisers don't. I mean, they think that their appraisal is like Rembrandt. They're Rembrandt, and this is their artwork. Okay? And sometimes they get offended. Not the good ones. I mean, you've listened to this show many, many years. Mike Tomczak, who is our appraisal expert, comes on from Paramount Appraisals all the time. You know what? He doesn't mind as long as it's accurate. We talk about disseminating accurate versus inaccurate information. Don't try to jack around. Can I say that on the radio? Don't try to do that to an appraiser when you're bringing in the info. No. Okay, give them comparables that are realistic, and then they'll appreciate it. But if you try to get over on an appraiser, and by the way, we can't even talk to appraisers.
Yeah,
correct.
That's how we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's
that's
black
just
and white information. We're all using the same stats. This is all on public record. Mm-hmm. It's all in the MLS system. There's no way around doing an appraiser's job. And if you treat them with respect and you leave the correct information for them, things work out fine.
It's all about the communication and how professional and
you
if you're experienced.
Coach your client.
Yeah, well, and you've got to be experienced. You have to know how to talk to somebody. And Harvey, we talk about it all the time.
A little bit. Yep.
It's about communication. It's about respect. It's about treating people with respect. And don't call up and yell at somebody about an appraisal or anything like that. They're all going to close. Okay, I'm telling you this. They're all going to close. We don't do loans that don't close. Right? They're all going to close.
I'm going to come in with this, though. Completely a team of professionals is definitely needed. We'll talk about that all morning long. 248-539-9797.
I want to hear from the appraisers.
It was May 31st yesterday here. We talked about it. It could have been potentially the busiest day ever in mortgage real estate history.
Well, at least in the last 5 years.
You said you were one of the real estate off. I had a couple closings. I was at Plymouth.
Yes.
You were at office.
I was in Novi, yes.
You were in Novi and 20 closings in that office. Yeah, the same thing. It was the conversation.
Couldn't find a parking spot yesterday.
We had one closing. It took us 50 minutes. Everyone was hugging it out. It was a great scene. Another situation where it turned out that the communication got a little sloppy, where whatever it was, the title company didn't call. They weren't able to do it. We were out of state. It was an out-of-state purchase. Of course, the client was coming here. Again, communication, the key to making things go really smooth for everybody.
Listen, when you're busy, things are going to happen. You only have to worry when you're not busy, because if you're not busy, nothing happens. If you're really busy, stuff's going to happen, especially on a Friday, last day of the month, and the busiest month of the year so far, right?
Absolutely.
So you know what's going to happen?
On a short week.
Coming out of a holiday week, right? So here's what's going to happen, guys, ladies, gentlemen. People are going to run late. It happens. So you run late, so you close a couple hours later.
All right, we're going to talk about some great stuff all morning long. 248-539-9797. Keep it here.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All right, welcome back to the show, 916. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and we have lots of power to help you get the right approval letter, show you what it takes to be a new homeowner here in Southeast Michigan. We'll make it all happen for you. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker, always taking your calls. 248-539-9797. John, you're looking at me like we want to dive into this. Oh, what do you want to go with?
Well, where did we leave off?
Well, I started talking
6 months.
Appraisal.
This is me retracking my brain.
Yeah. Well, John, there's no doubt about it. We see it all the time that sometimes if appraisal does come in a little bit short because we already know the inventory is not there, you need to have a little bit of extra money to work with. Or sometimes we take a client who might have started at 10% down, and hey, they might need that extra 5% to make up the difference. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I mean, we never want someone to overpay for a house, right? But sometimes it's going to happen. Like Kevin and Jessica were talking about, we're coming off a market where the winter months where their sales are low and the prices are a little bit lower. So, sometimes you just have to overpay to set that market in that area that you want to buy. And, we just had one of those where, there's a lot of data out there that the houses are going to be worth a lot more in 6, 9 months, 12 months. But right now we can't prove it. And so the appraisal came in a little bit low. It was renegotiated. Jessica did an awesome job. It's all about how they write the contract on the front end, right, to make sure that the client's protected, which they do an awesome job at. Renegotiated, got the house for what? $15,000 less than what they were going to get it for. And you know what? We did everything we could, our due diligence, to try to make that transaction work. And it just, 3 different appraisers said the same thing. It's just not worth it.
It just doesn't have it there. And again, someone might really deck out. Jess, you see it all the time on the buyer side. You'll walk in a whole bunch of homes, and that last home you walk into, everything's done. Mm-hmm. So the family doesn't need to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to make it their house. And now they're willing to overspend 10 or 15 because they don't want to lose it. They don't want to lose that offer.
Absolutely.
All right,
yes.
You get closer to the microphone there. There you go. 248-539-9797. Definitely going to be talking about mortgages and real estate and what's going on in today's market. The condo business has been really interesting. John, I was sort of shocked when I saw that condos only make up 8% of the mortgage world, but we're starting to see more and more attached condominium projects out there. And those projects seem like they're going to be taken up by our empty nesters. They're looking to downsize the house a little bit, Harry. Any of the condo projects that are left out there are pretty much empty nesters that are attached. Hey, you can get a mortgage on these places, and there's a lot to know. A lot of them are new construction, but be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding so we can go over all the fine details with you, because there is a little bit of different information to know. There's some additional startup fees on condominiums, and we're still finding that families are calling us up and asking about moving forward and such, and they haven't even read the bylaws and master deed and bylaws. So, Kev, can I throw this at you? When you take a listing on a condominium, would you please have to sit down and make sure they gather that stuff up front? They're going to need it.
I would hope so, yeah. And really, if you're
easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The only way you can take 97.1 The Ticket with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by the LaFontaine Automotive Group, the family deal. 97.1 The Ticket.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show. 9:15. If you're just getting up, June 1st. That's right.
Turn that music up.
Love it. Welcome, Detroit. A lot going on, of course, in the city. We're still rocking here. I just love that tune, don't you? Keep it going here. Detroit Rock City, of course. Hey, it's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. We get the job done for you. Just give us a call at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Of course, we take your calls here in the studio at 248-539-9797. We're going to get to some calls right away here. We got Crystal calling in about an appraisal question. Crystal, good morning and welcome to our show.
Good morning. How are you?
Real good. What's happening?
Good.
So I have a question about appraisal that I just got last night. So when I put the offer in on the house, it listed the square footage around 1,300 square foot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the appraisal happened to come back in at like 923 square foot.
That's a big difference.
It is a huge difference, which I kind of knew once I did the home inspection, and so I talked to my realtor about it, and he said, oh, well, once the appraisal comes in, they'll look at other comps in the area at the actual square footage.
Right.
Well, after doing some research on digging, the last public record I found on the square footage was actually 884 square foot on it.
Yep.
Okay.
So they pulled some comps in the area, and all of the other houses that are around that same square footage, it does have a walkout basement, so I compared houses with that as well. They all come in at like 150 square foot, and this one came in at 178 per square foot.
Well, yeah, I like addressing that if I can.
Go ahead,
I mean,
Eric.
you know, the most reliable number that you could look on an appraisal, and what an appraiser does is the comparable sales in the area closest to your subject property that are, again, most comparable to your home. So the square footage, you know, everybody wants to do the calculation. Square footage times this equals the value. No, not the way it works. I have a couple of questions I want to address with you up front. Why, you know, on a listing ticket, when you read a listing ticket, and Mike's going to tell you about this, it'll say this information is deemed reliable, but not necessarily accurate, okay?
Right.
So it goes like this. Why does it say 1,300 on the listing, and what was the discrepancy between the actual, was there a sunroom? Was there an enclosure that was, that they counted maybe? I mean, why, you know, what was the discrepancy in your opinion?
I'm not really sure what happened. I talked to the realtor about it, and he said sometimes they just put the wrong square footage amount.
It happens that way. I get that happens. So let me jump to number two.
Yeah.
Is the house the house that you want, and does it comp out to other homes in the neighborhood?
No.
Okay, is that a no and no, or is just a no? Is that you don't want the house?
It doesn't comp out. I mean, I pulled the last, even square footage that are more square footage than this. I know, okay, the square footage may not matter, but this house, it's not been remodeled since 1999. So there weren't any updates on it. It needs to be updated, which was fine by me. You know, the roof, the heating, everything is 20 years old on the house there. So I looked at other comparables. I did look in the same square footage range with the full basement, finished basement, walkout basement. Some of them had more square footage, and they still sold for less than what this house was.
Hey, Crystal, I got a couple of things here, and I know Mike Lucas wants to chime in too. When you were looking at all these different houses before you made the offer on this, did this one seem like, wait a minute, this isn't 1,300 square feet? Just everyone out there is listening. Say, wait a minute. When I walk into a house like
between 900 square feet and 1,300 square feet.
Didn't it feel like, wait a minute here, this doesn't have an extra half bath? This doesn't have. Did it feel like it was smaller? And then did you question it?
It was empty. So it's really hard for me to tell.
Okay.
I knew it
That's fair.
probably was off a little bit because I had mentioned that to my realtor before we put the offer in.
Yeah.
So but I figured maybe 300-400 square foot.
Are you
so
gonna?
They listed it with the basement as a total of 2,700 square foot.
Well, that doesn't. Yeah, underground doesn't count.
Yeah, that's just on the MLS.
Are you going to buy it? Hey, let's talk about the good stuff. I wanted it to be a positive show today, so I want to ask you a great question. Are you excited? Are you going to buy this house? Or is this a deal killer for you because you came back with information that you were not sure? You know, this is new information for you.
Kind of a deal killer for me because I would have never walked into that house. Number one, had I known it was 900 square foot.
Okay.
I didn't walk into any houses that were 900 square foot. And then the fact that I could see other houses that don't sell for that.
Harry, we're not lawyers. We're not lawyers, Harry. Can she probably walk away from this and say, wait a minute here, this is all wrong. You guys are trying to pull it. I think you can walk away and get your money back.
I can walk away from it and then lose $1,800 on it.
You're fine. You're fine. I think no, you're not going to lose your EMD on it. You're not going to lose your deposit on it. No. And by the way, it didn't appraise the way you wanted to appraise, so you're done.
Well, right. But I would have wanted to appraise had it been 1,300.
Of course.
My guess is that the whoever listed that probably included your walkout, or there's an addition on in the past because that's a huge discrepancy between 13 and 19.
Yeah,
or 900 square feet. That's
lastly, Chris, I want to offer this up. Okay, if you want to go ahead and email me that appraisal so I can just take a look at it for you, you can certainly do that. hglanz@lowrateonline.com. You can do that. I'll look at it. It's something I do every day as part of my daily routine. I look at a lot of appraisals to see what the values are, if we have to rebut them, and just an overall condition of the house. If you want to do that, I'll offer. Just send it to me. I'll take a look at it.
We'll follow up with you, Crystal. Thanks for the call. It's real interesting stuff. Thank you very much.
May I ask one more question?
Maybe. Go ahead.
So I know my mortgage people told me that I can appeal that. Am I allowed to send comps that I think are comparable? Will they check those out as well?
Well, we got a whole bunch of things moving on. Let's talk about this. Yes, you can do a rebuttal to the appraisal, but if you don't want the house, and if you go in there, it doesn't matter. I mean, go in there with a tape measure. I can go measure it with you this afternoon. It doesn't take that long to measure the house and your agent.
There's a formal rebuttal process that your lender's going to have to do. The lender would supply the comps, and they would do a formal rebuttal. We do it all the time.
Okay.
Chris, I'm going to let you go on this, but we're following up.
If you don't want the house, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. We let her go, Mike. I'm going to say this because I wanted to let her go on this. 248-539-9797. If you're listening, if you're a mortgage person, a real estate person, you heard that call. What's going on in your mind right now? I got some things in my mind, Mike.
Yeah. First of all, I wrote down on my notepad, BATVAD, buyer's agent to verify all data. Your agent has got to do their homework before you even put pen to paper.
Yeah, Thank you.
I mean, if you're an experienced agent and you're looking at 1,300 square feet on an MLS ticket, you should know you're standing in 900.
You know as well as I do when you walk into a house, the difference between 900 and 1,300 square feet. What are you kidding me? Okay, that's number one. Number two, you're talk about reality. All right, reality is people just want to sell houses.
Absolutely.
So they're going to get their buyer to walk in the house and they want to sell the house. I'm sorry. You know, in the state of Michigan, who's your fiduciary responsibility to?
Your client.
No. Unfortunately, in real estate, it's to the seller.
Well, yeah.
Who's paying the commission? Yeah. Unfortunately, now, in real life, I'm representing my buyer.
Correct.
Okay? So that's how I work because it's a relationship thing. However, bottom line is if she doesn't want the house, you're done. Get your money back and look at another house.
Okay, Mike, we talk about it. You and I talk about some of the inexperience out there. I don't know. I said to someone recently, I had 28 years mortgage experience. They said, I don't care about that. I said, it might come up one day. Mike, if you're in a house that says $1,350 and it's $900, anyone knows that.
Anybody can write a contract up on paper. The difference is the real people that stick around in this industry, they'll tell their client not to do something. Don't make that offer.
Right.
Don't buy that house.
Right.
Don't do this. Don't do that. Wait and work with them another 2-3 months, 2 years, whatever it takes. Make sure they make the right choice.
Make sure they're making the right choice. I like that. Make sure everything's good. Hey, is this house big enough for you? Does it feel a little smaller than 1,300? I mean, this is all interesting stuff. Anyways, I think she'll be able to get out of it if she wants to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she can even go and say, hey, look, it appraised for less money, and maybe there's a deal there after all. They'll have to figure it out.
What's more important is if she's going to be happy or not. If this house is a fit and she's happy there, then fine. If it's not, let's move on and find something else. Yeah. It's got to be a fit. It's a lifestyle move. Okay, that's where she's at.
Yeah. There you go. All right, lots of different ways to purchase a home, of course, all around the country. Great opportunities out there. I want to throw all these out there. Of course, Freddie Mac came out with a new program, making it very easy to purchase conventionally. Was 3% down. The new 3% down program doesn't have the income limits and the geographic limits, so that's a great program. Conventional loans, MSHDA loans here in Michigan, USDA loans all across Michigan. Of course, not right in the major part of Oakland, Macomb, or Wayne County, but just on the outskirts of all the great counties here. Then everything else is USDA, zero down opportunities across the board. Harry, our jumbo loans are some of the best rates in the United States. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
So everybody
will try to do it the right way.
I'm sure everybody runs into you and says, why is it so difficult to go ahead and get approved for a mortgage? No, wrong. It's not difficult. There are more mortgage programs out there now than there ever have before. Now, there's some caveats to that. You better have decent credit, pay your bills on time. You better have a job. We need to see that you're working and you have the ability to repay the loan. And let's talk about your credit history. Make your payments on time. Everything's credit score driven. Rates are credit score driven, okay? Programs are credit score driven. Loan to value. The better credit you have, the less money you could put down. But people say, Harry, but it's difficult to get a loan. No, it's not.
It's really easy.
It's not difficult to get a loan. Just get us your stuff and have good credit and have a job.
All right, the big C word, credit. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about credit, a whole lot about buying and selling your home. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 931. If you're just joining us, got a great whole panel here this morning. We got John Kolb over there from Capital Mortgage, who knows everything about mortgages that I don't know.
Well, Harvey, you brought me in just for the expertise and the knowledge.
I did. We brought John in 20-some years ago.
The bar is low.
The bar is not. Of course, Stewart Team Real Estate Partners is in. Kevin Stewart, Jessica Zelke, and we got Adrienne in here. Adrienne Messier. She's got so many different last names. Adrienne, if you get closer to the mic, everyone wants to hear from you.
How do you know?
Everyone wants.
People are going to start calling in if you don't start talking.
Yeah, we're going to say what's going on. Hey, what did I want to go over? Housing affordability, definitely what's going on here across Southeast Michigan.
Well, down payment assistance programs we were talking about.
We did that a little bit.
Harvey, go over the plethora of programs that you can get for, a little bit of a down payment.
Oh, a little bit of a down payment here. You can go zero down on a VA loan. That would be a great one. What's really become interesting is just north of you guys in Rochester is everything is USDA, rural development loans, folks. They're out there, zero down. John, it's a very easy transaction. They can close within 30 days, maybe a week extra, maybe somewhere in that 30-day range. But you can purchase zero down. Also, John, our 3% down, 5% down programs.
Yep. You just got to make sure you qualify for the programs. They're not for everybody. There are parameters for the program for you to be as a borrower. So you got to just make sure you put yourself with us, not any lender, us.
Yeah.
Make sure that we get you, qualified the right way. 3% down programs are great. They cap the mortgage insurance on a monthly basis. But, first-time home buyer, you can't have a second home out there. But if you do have all that, we still have 5% down programs.
And the RD loans are great products. You just got to understand that they are location specific. The house has to qualify, not just the buyer.
Yep. You need the address, not the area. You need the address.
You have to have the address. Because wrong side of the street can make a difference.
Michigan is so affordable. When you look at really what our property taxes are generally pretty, decent across the country. We get great schools. Yeah, you might be paying a little bit heavy on taxes, but you get the great schools. You got the lakes, the golf courses. A lot of amenities come with it. It's affordable here in Michigan. Actually, what's going on is mortgage rates have been down. We've got solid income here. We got low unemployment here. Everyone is employed. It's somewhere under 4%. It turns out that in the first quarter, 61.4% of the homes in the United States were affordable. Were considered affordable, which means that it fell under where if you median income in the United States is $75,000. So 61, almost 62% of the homes were affordable if you were making $75,000. Again, that could be a young couple. They're each making $30,000, $35,000. You could work at restaurants and make that much, and there's a ton of jobs.
We're brought to you by Power Home Solar. Tiger baseball today right here on 97.1 The Ticket. 4:10, the first pitch. Detroit at Atlanta trying to make it 4 straight. Braves have dropped 3 in a row at home. Daniel Norris going for Detroit. Mike Soroka for the Braves, who got beat up 8-2 by the Tigers in their 4 home runs last night. Nico Goodrum with 2 of them. He won 5 for 5 in the Tigers' 8-2 victory. Castellanos and Griner also going deep for Detroit. Miguel Cabrera left the game early with a sore left knee. He will have an MRI today. He has 2 home runs and 214 plate appearances this year. He has 4 years remaining on his contract at $31 million per year. College World Series, Michigan 6 make that college NCAA tournament. Michigan 6, Creighton nothing. Central Michigan over Miami 6-5. Detroit Grand Prix today and tomorrow, Belle Isle. Indy races at 3:30 each day. Stanley Cup Finals tonight, Game 3, St. Louis hosting Boston. That series tied at 1. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
The Detroit Tigers play the Atlanta Braves. Pre-game today at 3:45 on 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to show 930. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can find us at 1-800-LOAD-8, the best mortgage banker.
So, Harvey, I'm going to interrupt you a bit. You want to know why? We have a special guest, and she's going to kill me. Liz Steinhaus, our general counsel for Fairway Independent Mortgage. She doesn't want to talk, but I have an affinity for female attorneys. You know that.
Oh, yeah, that's your thing.
I love them, and that's why. Liz and I became great friends when we joined a long time ago, and she's in town for a graduation. She used to live in Detroit.
Yes.
She lived in downtown Detroit before it was cool to live in downtown Detroit, but she's here, and she keeps us out of trouble. It goes like this. You know how I keep us out of trouble?
Yes.
She keeps me out of trouble.
Oh, good.
Along with all the other attorneys.
There's a higher
in my
authority.
Life.
I appreciate
there's always
that.
Come on.
And
there's always higher authority.
And, of course, you would know who Liz is if you're watching us on Facebook Live, of course. Turn us on there. We got the Hardcore Mortgage Show. And, of course, if you're listening here on 97.1 The Ticket, kick it up a little bit, another 29 minutes or so. And, of course, we have sports all day long here with Pat Caputo and a whole bunch of good stuff. 248-539-9797. We're going to take all your calls. Let's move off to Pete on a cell phone. Good morning, Pete. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I got a question. I bought a house in Manistee, Michigan, back in September. Went up there for 8 months. I regutted it. And my question is, I know you usually do the comparable houses in the neighborhood, but should you leave a sheet for that inspector when he goes in to appraise it, showing, I mean, we took out all new hardwood floors, new carpeting, every light switch, every fan, every, the new countertops. Should we tell them about that? And like cosmetically, I know I didn't know if we should do that, but like when you walk into the outside from the porch, you look and you say, wow, that's a really nice porch, the handrails and all that. Well, I tore out all those metal,
the rusty metal look, and you put in the new stuff. Yeah.
60 or 50.
So
tore that all out, put all new pine wood. It looks great in the back and the front. Should you leave a list for that appraiser?
Yeah, why not? Did you already sell the place? Is that what's going on? It said
no. We got an offer on it, and now we're waiting for them to go in and appraise it.
Okay.
So we're just a little nervous.
Well, 100%. Who's the appraisal contact? I know it's up in Manistee. So is your agent going to meet the appraiser there, or are you the contact? Who's going to meet the appraiser at the house?
I think the agent is going to.
Well, let's not think. Call up the agent today and say, hey, I need you to meet the appraiser at the house, and I'm going to email you and make sure you have a list of paperwork. You don't want them to forget it. I'd actually go myself, but go ahead and meet make sure the real estate agent does meet the appraiser there with the list of all the upgrades. Now, it doesn't matter that you did all those things because we don't know. Did you consult with the local real estate agent and say, what improvements will I get out of this house when I put all this money into it? And what square footage do you have compared to all the other homes in Manistee? What are those selling for?
Right.
That's ultimately going to, and it doesn't sound like you're real positive on that. How much are you selling the house for?
We put it up for $119,900.
How much? Say it again. You got cut off. Say it again.
$119,900.
$119,900, and they're going for it. What did they?
And we got a deal for $112,000. We agreed on.
Great. Okay. How much do you have into this property?
About $30,000. Not to mention the work that we did. You can't count that.
Your sweat equity.
Contractor to do it.
Yep.
So it might, it would have cost us another 10 or.
Well, just
Pete,
write a list.
Pete, are you happy with the deal that you made?
$40,000 in.
Pete, are you happy with the deal that you made?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just worried that the appraiser is going to go, nah.
Well,
that's your agent's job. Let your agent do that.
Yeah, you're fine.
Control what you can control. Don't worry about it. But I would list everything out that you did. That's nice that you did it, but don't expect to get dollar for dollar back. But you just want to let the appraiser know when you did all these things so they can list it on the appraisal that these improvements were made on such and such a date.
Right. Yeah, because we, like I said, from September 18th through April, we went up there every weekend and worked on the house.
All right. Well, there's pride of ownership. There's pride of workmanship, too. Now, other people aren't going to be as emotionally involved in it as you are. You have to understand that.
Hey, Pete, give us a follow-up on it with the appraisal and stuff in another couple weeks. Give us a call back on the show. We want to hear what goes on, okay?
I will.
I appreciate that.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, that's the cool thing about it. Thanks a lot. 248-539-9797. My favorite part about the show is if you call in, maybe someone out there listening doesn't want to make that call, but it's relevant. It's what's going on. Yeah. Everyone's experiencing the same things.
For sure. Yeah. When you list a house, especially like that, where someone's put a lot of money into it over a course of a year or two.
A lot of love and sweat.
Yeah. I have this sheet that I always include on my downloadable documents, I guess, for a better word, seller's disclosure statements, things like that on my listings. But I always have my client put together a list of improvements. You want not only the buyer to know about that when they make their offer, the agent, obviously, the components as we talked about, but you also want that to be in front of the appraiser. Yeah. Those are things that matter. Like we talked about, you're not going to get dollar for dollar all the time.
Right.
But, it helps.
Pride of ownership's everything. You get one chance of making that first impression. You pull up to the house. That's why it's so important as you guys, you tell your lister or your listing appointments, hey, we got to fix this. You know, when we walk in the house, you got peel and paint on the door. You know, it's all cracked concrete everywhere. You got to clean that stuff up.
Correct. It's tough to be honest sometimes with people, but you have to, and that's the way this business works.
Well, if you're not up front and then they get no showings, who are they going to blame?
Correct.
You.
Yep.
So you might as well tell them up front, listen, clean this up. Just move this around, especially now that the weather is finally maybe breaking. You know, it's paint up, clean up, fix up time. Let's go.
Hey, mortgage rates, of course, in all-time lows. They went up a little bit at the end of December, January. Things are really looking good. Massive market movement over the last few weeks. Of course, all this conversation about the tariffs being imposed on Mexico. It hurts the stock market. It helps the bond market. So that's one thing they don't have to worry about. No one has to worry about these unbelievable great mortgage interest rates. Now, Mike, what's going on with the inventory out there? You brought a sheet today. It looks like Mount Everest. It's real high
Mount
up
Everest
there.
the wrong way.
The wrong way, right.
Yeah.
It looks like the top was Mount Everest in 2010 or 9 or whenever we had some inventory, and now there's just nothing out there.
Yeah, 2 years ago, there was about 5 months of inventory, which means, you know, there are tons of houses. Right now, if you look at, number one, the foreclosure market is non-existent.
Right.
Thank God for that.
Thank God. And that's why our values are so good and the market's red hot. But if you look at the entire MLS of our 4 major counties here,
yes,
you know, there's nothing. There's not a lot of inventory right now. And if you have something nice to sell, I barely can get a sign in the yard.
Right. So supply and demand, what that tells you is that's why the prices are so high. And anybody out there that you're showing houses to, and there are a lot of frustrated buyers that they're walking into houses and they're saying, okay, you know, lack of quality inventory on the market. They're walking in these houses and I don't want this. They just don't. They're not going to buy a house that they can't fix up. Now, if they're handy and they want to do some work, that's a different story. But most people, it's curb appeal. They walk in, they fall in love with it right away. They know within 5 seconds whether they like the house or not. We've all bought houses and sold houses here. We know what we like. It takes a special person to walk in and see a vision. Okay, I'm not talking about the nasty green carpeting and the orange walls and all that kind of stuff. We can always paint and carpet that. We're talking about, and there's a term in real estate, the bones are good of the house, okay? If it's got solid bones and you can foresee and have a vision of what you want to fix up and maybe add on, okay, you might want to do that. That's a harsh undertaking. Harvey, you've built how many houses in your life?
3.
Yeah. So your experience in doing that, but it takes a lot of work.
It's fun and it's exciting, but you got to have a really great plan and stay organized, and it takes a few dollars, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's all of that going on. It's very rare. If you find a turnkey, you're going to pay for it. That's it. But you have to be resigned to that. I don't think there are any steals out there anymore, right? No steals.
No, there's not. In that middle ground of, like you were talking about, the good bones type of homes out there, really seeing a lack of that right now. You know, a lot of what we're showing to people are very, very nice homes. The ones that do hit the market, there's a lot of pre-marketing behind them.
Okay.
So, there's, Zillow, Trulia, whatever you want to, call it. You've got 100 buyers that are eyeballing it for the 2 weeks before it hits the market. So we're seeing a lot less. I've got a dozen different investors that I've worked with over the last, 10, 15 years. And I haven't heard from them in 3 years.
Right.
There's just
a tough market for them.
Well, I mean, there's just not a lot of middle ground out there. There's not a lot of that starter home with good bones that we're looking for first-time home buyers that are willing to put some sweat equity in.
All right, we talked about Livonia being one of these great new hot cities. There's a couple other ones out there. We're going to get into all this. 248-539-9797. I really want to throw this out there. If you're out there shopping for a home, are you really pre-approved? Those are some simple words, but boy, there's a lot behind that. Have you given your documentation and sat down, or even given them to anybody in the mortgage world? If you have not, you do not have a pre-approval.
If you haven't sent over your tax returns, at least your W-2s, your pay stubs, and your bank account information, there's no way somebody can tell you that you're pre-approved. It's impossible.
And Harry, yet we're still getting these phone calls, and it's nonstop. They're issuing these pre-approvals. Families are not getting organized. You're hearing these great real estate agents tell you, you're up against a lot of competition. If you're not even pre-approved, then you don't have your team together. You don't have your plan together, and that's what we're trying to prevent you from. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We've got Aaron calling in. We're going to sneak in real quick, Aaron. Let's go to Aaron real quick for 30 seconds. Aaron, it says, getting ready to close on your house. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, you guys. Like I was telling the screener, my wife and I went through somebody else, a bigger mortgage company. I'm not going to say any names, and we weren't really happy with what we got because we were looking to use Mishta, which I thought was a fake pretend thing that people talked about that nobody could really get.
Nope, it's real.
I worked with Derek through Capital Mortgage. And
yeah, there you go.
He helped me through everything, and we should be closing next week. So I just stumbled across your guys' show because 97.1 is on the radio all the time on my way to work, and I said I'm going to give it a shot. And it's been great.
Aaron, you're wonderful.
Aaron, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for thanking us. We thank you.
Aaron, thanks a lot. We really appreciate that.
Send that kind message out to Derek Brooks in our office, definitely. Hey, if you're thinking about a mortgage, be sure to call us, 248-539-9797. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All righty, welcome back to the show. 9:45. Good morning, everyone out there. Can't say it's going to be the worst day out there. Clouds are starting to roll in. Get out there and enjoy. Cut the lawn. Do what you got to do. Get that 18 holes in. Or listen to our Hardcore Mortgage Show. 248-539-9797. We've got all your calls. Also, you can call Capital Mortgage at 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. Take all your calls, get a strong approval letter, get it handled the right way. Home ownership should be a lot of fun. Make it fun. Actually, I threw it out at a couple agents. I said, you're ruining my fun. The client's buying a real expensive house. Why not enjoy it? And I had real estate agents calling me, hey, Harvey, was that appraisal order? Blah, blah. Yeah, it was appraisal ordered. Yes, it was. It was ordered as a super duper duper rush. I put that on one of the orders this week, John. You're looking at me.
Actually, he typed it in that way.
Well, I was yelling it.
One finger typing at a time.
But anyways, one of the things what happened was I got a call and I had my panties in a bunch. I'm going to let some steam out here this morning because sure enough, I was getting called about an appraisal. Well, as a loan officer, it was my job to quickly get the purchase agreement and get that appraisal ordered. So I called the listing agent's office and they gave me a number. And sure enough, it was the wrong number. But I came back to the agent and I said, hey, look, your name's not even on this purchase agreement. It's not even on here. But anyways, long story short, it came back to the communication. Kevin, what could be more important than be able to, if you're a listing agent, call that mortgage guy and talk about the approval letter that was issued. If you're talking with if you're working with a buyer on this time, talk to that mortgage guy. Make sure that everyone is on the same page, and then everything can close in less than 30 days if they needs to.
Clear, open, and swift communication are extremely important. And part of the reason that we've developed the team that we have is that we have a lot of people that are involved in different parts of the process, because providing great process is what provides a smooth transaction. And so, I'll be honest, I'm not the easiest person to get on the phone. Shoot, any of my friends can tell you I'm sometimes a pain in the butt to get on the phone.
Yes.
Especially during the day. And John's like, I can be difficult to get on the phone, but it's because I'm in appointments all day and I don't answer my phone.
The forest. It is? Yeah. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep. But the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow. That's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now available for download. Always Aggravated. A Mike Valenti signature podcast. Get it on radio.com and Apple iTunes. 97.1
All right, welcome back to the show, 9:45. Just another 15 minutes more of the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding.
Another hour?
No, we could. I got someone coming to the office, but we got
11 o'clock too. But
good.
Yeah,
well, Pat Caputo coming up with sports and social commentary coming up at 10 o'clock. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. Then we got some Tiger baseball a little bit later in the day, and they are going. Is it true that they have a 5-game winning streak? Wait, no.
Listen,
am I wrong?
Listen,
they
got
had some
5
game
for
winning
5
streak
last night.
All right.
5 for 5.
They got a couple games
That's
under
pretty
their
strong.
belt here. I don't know if they're quite headed to the World Series, but they're definitely still interesting to me.
Maybe not, but if it's a nice night out and it's a summer and they're playing in town, I'll be down there.
There you go. 248-539-9797. We brought Mike Lucas in from America Hometown 3.
And Lizzie.
And, of course, Liz is here.
Got Liz.
Got the counselor here. She's not going to talk,
Liz.
though, unless we got any problems here. Liz will jump in. Hey, Mike, talk a little bit about what's going on over there in your neck of the woods. I know, like, we talked about the inventory a little bit. Truly, buyers, if they want to move anyone in these areas, what's your path to success? Where would you direct them the first way?
Well, you have to, analyze everyone's situation and realize this is a domino game right now. A lot of people are sitting on equity, and you have to make sure there's a lot of good communication between all the partners involved. Some of these deals that we're seeing, there's 3 or 4 deals that need to close. Whoever you're making an offer to, they're moving somewhere.
Yep.
And the people buying your house might have something to close.
That's right.
So you have to look at it from that aspect.
So as we say, there could be a lot of moving parts on the transactions. All right. So if there's a lot of moving parts, you have to get your ducks in a row and make sure the communication is solid and upfront. Just have that plan. It's got to be solid. And, the fact that we do everything in-house, process, close, fund, underwrite, everything in-house, it's a tremendous advantage. Because early in the process, if we know what the scheduled events are going to be, we can go ahead and gear that transaction for success. But it all depends on the communication. You know what? I got to tell you something. People say here, well, you were a rookie at one time, because I've always said I don't like dealing with rookies. Doesn't matter who you deal with, whether you're a rookie or you're experienced, the communication has to be there and has to be upfront. And then do me a favor. Don't bother me. All right, just let's get the plan together. Let's execute the plan. Let's stay on course. And if there's a hiccup like Harvey had yesterday, everybody has them. Just tell us about it. Let us know what's going on, and it's usually not a big deal. But there's no way you should go down 3-4 weeks in the mortgage or real estate buying process and then have a hiccup. Unless, of course, it wasn't disclosed to anybody, and that's a situation where you can't foresee that. But this is all about communication and lining everything up to be successful, because you're working backwards. If closing date is on June 30th, you know that, and here we are on June 1st, all right, you know that your chances for success are pretty good because you know the end
Harry,
game.
the experienced people, as soon as you said that, what triggers in my mind? No, Harry, June 28th is a Friday because that's the last closing day of the month.
Good.
The experienced people bring something to the game. If you don't have an experienced person, you're going to find out soon enough. Mike, I want to definitely talk a little bit about some of the things that happens when young couples are getting together and sort of saving money. It's always been a thing. I was young once, I think. You're still on the younger
still
side.
Young, right?
Yeah.
You're young.
But some of the things that people can do to save money, definitely they can move in together, or they can move in with mom and dad even for a year or two, or find a friend. Somewhere where you cut your expenses down, where you can save up that additional money. Because, Mike, inventories are down, prices are going up. They're trickling up. You need a little bit extra money.
Right, and we're seeing, hardly any FHA or VA offers right now because you get most of these people or younger people have good credit. They're getting out of college. They've got their affairs in order, and we're seeing a lot of people that are either living with mom and dad longer or staying somewhere where they're not tied to a lease and these are great buyers and they're fun to work with because they're educated now.
Yeah,
they've got all the tools by the time they get to me, they know what they want, and they know what it's worth.
Yep.
They've done their homework.
Your job's getting a little easier, maybe.
A little bit. With the first-time home buyer, for sure. It's completely different than it was 10 years ago.
So that's what we talked about. There are a lot of programs out there.
For sure.
VA programs, 0 down. There's FHA programs, you put down 3.5%. There's other programs you put down 3%. All right, but it's going to depend on your credit. So it could be, there are more mortgage programs out there. I don't want to say it's easier to get a mortgage because that might have a negative connotation based on the past. It's not easier. There are more programs out there for people that are qualified. We're a lender. We want to get paid back. See, the object of getting a mortgage is sooner or later, mostly later, we want our money, okay? We want to get paid off. So we establish a history with these people, and they have to have established credit history is what I'm trying to say. Easy for me to say. But there are more programs out there now than there were in 1988, for example.
All right.
Exactly.
And a couple extra ways to save money out there. 70% of these younger generation, of course, said they would cut back on some of these extracurricular activities like shopping, going to the movies. How about 2 lattes a day? That could add up real quickly, right? You start spending $10, $12 at the coffee shop.
We're finding these people that are using their head. They're okay with a 900 or 1,000 square foot place. It's based on location. You know, they're not overspending. They're not buying a $350,000 house with no furniture in it because they can't afford it.
That's our highest segment of buyers out there, 22 to 38-year-olds. Call them the millennials. Call them what you want. Like you said, they don't want that gigantic house anymore. They're more interested in the experience and having nicer things and keeping things on the belt. Maybe they're a smarter generation than we were.
Well, us boomers, what we did was we decided we wanted to work a lot. We said we wanted to work a lot, make a lot of money, not have a real work-life balance. And I think our kids decided, you know what, maybe they want it all, but they want it their way. They're going to work when they work, and they're going to play when they play. And they're going to go to crazier different places than we were. You know, hey, I was happy with Florida, okay? They're going to Greece, they're going to Italy, they're going around Austria, they're going around the world. But that's their lifestyle. That's what they want to do. Good for them.
Go for it. Why not? They're all smart. Renovation loans. I want to throw that out there. FHA 203K loans. We have the conventional product at Capital Mortgage. Upgrade your home. Why not? Make it an enjoyable space. That's what people are doing out there. Lots of remodeling going on. You know, the average remodel on a kitchen is $22,000. Yes, you can take the equity out of your house if you have the equity. Do the right thing with it. That one caller, always brings to mind. Don't start doing all these improvements to the home until you've consulted with probably real estate mortgage professionals. Find out what the market's going for. If you over-improve for in the neighborhood, you're not going to get the money back. And especially if you're planning on flipping the house, you got to be very careful where you put those dollars.
But Mike and Harvey, if you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for your lifestyle, then go ahead and do it.
Doesn't matter.
If you're doing it for resale because you're going to think dollar for dollar, no. Don't do it that way. So again, if you want the she shed and the man cave and the 10 big screens down, if you want to do all that, that's fine, but do it for yourself. Okay? If you do the built-in pool, don't think you're going to get dollar for dollar back. You're doing the pool for you, your family, your kids, and your friends, and you want that kind of lifestyle. So you have to do it for you in mind first, for your lifestyle. And then, you know what? We all know kitchens and bathrooms return the most money.
Yeah, I get that question daily. If I do this, what will I get back? And that's not always the equation. Sometimes I look at a client and say, well, you're not going to get your money back, but it's going to sell faster. That's part of it too. How appealing is this going to be to a buyer?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily are you going to get your money back. It's
right.
How fast is it going to
depends on how long you're going to live there. You have to enjoy your house. So whatever you do to your house, do it for your enjoyment, not necessarily to get the money back.
All right, a couple other things real quick. Of course, if you're looking to refinance your home, call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. That's right. Rate and term refinances, dropping your mortgage from a 30-year to a 20 or a 15-year mortgage. Build equity, pay off that house that much sooner. Or again, a cash-out refinance if you want to do these home improvements we're talking about, or even pay off high-interest rate credit cards. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE.
Yeah, pay off that toxic debt. Okay, it's better to pay off debt with 4% mortgage on an 18% credit card, right? But the key is, Harvey, and human behavior is what it is, don't run up those credit cards again. Tear every one except for one or two. Tear up every one except the Visa and the gas card. Okay, that's it. Everybody's out there. What about the Target card?
No, you can
listen. Just don't run your credit cards up again. There's a smart way of doing it. I don't want anybody out there to use their house as a piggy bank, because that'll get you in the same amount of trouble as what happened 10 years ago. Don't do it.
Also, second home purchase, of course, here in the great state of Michigan. We have some unbelievable opportunities if you want to buy that relaxing home. I know my blood pressure drops when I get past the Zilwaukee Bridge. I think that's the goal line for me, but definitely for families out there. And again, you might be a local lake like somewhere in the Tri-County area.
Lake, Sylvan Lake.
Sylvan, or there you go, or even Cass for that matter, Harry. But a couple things out there. Again, 10% down on vacation homes. Call Capital. Definitely will give you the scoop on there. And then one other thing to remind yourself, coming up in 30 days, July 1st, the summer tax bills come in. So if you haven't refinanced, if you don't have the money to pay your summer tax bill, if you're thinking about a refinance and want to do everything in once, definitely call us at Capital Mortgage. Mike Lucas, we want to thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
You're awesome.
Thank you for showing up. We appreciate it, Liz. Everybody, Harvey, you are the the man. You are awesome as usual.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate that. Again, great Mike Lucas from Remerica Hometown. If you want to get in touch with Mike Lucas or all the great agents, definitely give us a call. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RAY. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. For Kerry Glantz, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll see you next Saturday.